The federal government will soon move to ban refugees and asylum seekers on Manne Island and Nauru from ever coming to Australia. It will seek to toughen existing border protection laws next month when the Parliament resumes. Defence reporter Andrew Green has more from Canberra.
Essentially, the government will be moving immediately on something that it's flagged for some time, and that is to clean up the legislation or to toughen it up to prevent any person who arrived in Australian waters after July 2013 from ever being able to set foot in Australia. Now, the government says that will affect a number of people on Manne and Nauru, and what it will do is put blockages in place that will prevent them from ever receiving a tourist visa or any other type of visa to come to Australia. Now, the Immigration Minister says there will be exemptions for children who were transferred during that period to either Manne or Nauru, and also the Minister will have discretion to allow other exceptions to this rule. But essentially, the government wants to introduce legislation when Parliament returns the week after this one, and the Prime Minister says this will shut the door on any boat person who arrived after July 13. Let's hear from him now.
This is a battle of will between the Australian people, represented by its government, and these criminal gangs of people smugglers. You should not underestimate the scale of the threat. These people smugglers are the worst criminals imaginable. They have a multi-billion-dollar business. It is a battle of will. We have to be very determined to say no to their criminal plans.
And Andrew, what's been the reaction so far to this?
Well, not surprisingly, refugee advocates are quite horrified at the prospect of these laws, although they have been flagged for some time. And one or two are even questioning the legality of it. Now, that's a point the Prime Minister was asked about when a reporter asked whether the Solicitor-General, the now former Solicitor-General, had been consulted. Now, the Prime Minister incidentally confirmed that the Solicitor-General wasn't consulted on this change, but he said it's not a constitutional question, so it's just gone to the government solicitor. But in any case, the refugee advocate David Manne says that this is a terrible proposition. Let's hear from him.
Without all the details, it would really appear to be unnecessary, completely unnecessary. I mean, the government already have told us for a long time that they have extremely harsh measures in place, and that this has resulted in stopping the boats, and that it's working very well. So it's very difficult to see why these measures are seen as necessary.
David Manne speaking there. Now, the government is challenging the opposition and Bill Shorten to back these changes. They say this is a fairly simple proposition, and one they believe Labor already has as its own policy from Kevin Rudd's time. And the opposition, though, in its early reaction to this announcement, has indicated it wants to see the full detail in the legislation.
It's a distraction from Peter Dutton's hopeless mismanagement of his portfolio. It is extraordinary that 3 years on, this government has not found third countries to resettle those people who are in limbo on Manne Island and Nauru. It's time Peter Dutton started doing his job and finding a permanent resettlement option for these people left in limbo.
And Labor Deputy Leader Tanya Plibersek ending that report from Defence reporter Andrew Green.